Yeah, it's that Delta Nu. I don't know if you guys have like a sign, but it's that whole Delta Nu club, right?
It's really cute. It's delta. You make a delta, and then it's these two fingers, delta nu.
Delta Nu. Got it. I'm ready. I'm all every when I'm watching the show next week, this is all I'm gonna be doing the whole time now.
But it has to be full
Oh, it
hand.
has to be this and
Full
then
hand.
it goes down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Delta nu.
Delta Nu. Got it. Nailed it. I am here with Jesse Lynn Harte, who plays Margot in the national tour of Legally Blonde. That is just so exciting. I have to tell you, Legally Blonde is my all-time like guilty pleasure show. It really shouldn't be a guilty pleasure show, but that is the show that I've always go back to. I've seen that bootleg of the original cast 1,000 times.
The MTV.
Yep, the MTV. They showed it to us in theater in high school, and I never looked back since.
It's iconic.
Iconic, absolutely. How does it feel to be in such a iconic show? I mean, the movie was incredible, but I personally feel like the musical is even better.
I mean, I love me some Reese Witherspoon, Jennifer Coolidge. I'm an Emerson alum like her, but the musical is just a lifelong dream of mine. If you had asked me when that MTV Pro Shot came out, what my dream job was, I would have said I want to be in the Legally Blonde national tour. I want to be on a tour and I want to be in Legally Blonde. So it's truly insane to be able to be like, oh, I'm living my dream. It's crazy, but yeah, the musical is so fun. Everyone loves it. If you love musical theater, you love Legally Blonde. It's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And like my wife doesn't understand because she's never seen like a professional performance of Legally Blonde before. I mean, she loved it when she saw her sister, who, like I told you before this interview started, my sister-in-law actually played Margot, and she had the time for her life. So I can only imagine how much fun you're having. But she doesn't believe me when I tell her like seeing it professionally done at AT&T Performing Arts Center is going to be unlike anything you've seen before.
Oh, it really is, especially because our version of the show is so different from anything that I've seen before. And I've done Legally Blonde before. I've seen so many Legally Blondes, and this one is just like in so many ways it's so different. The cast brings something a little special and different, and we're doing it in a different time period. We're doing it in present day, so that adds a little extra spice to it too. So I think it's a whole new take on it too.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. I didn't know you guys were doing like your own little take. Putting it present day is such a like a genius subtle move because I feel like it can easily translate into present day. So that's really awesome. Is there a kind of like a relevant message that you want audience members to get out of y'all's performance?
Oh yeah, and I think like you said, it can translate into present day so well. The whole theme of the show is what matters, and that's what translates. I mean, I think even more so today of staying true to yourself, and I think the show is really about sisterhood and female empowerment, and that matters a lot to me and a lot to our audiences, especially today. You don't have to dumb yourself down to be respected as a woman, and to like be yourself as much as you can and fight for what you want and fight for what you deserve. That's really the message that people take away from it, especially when it's set in present day. I think it has such a strong message set in 2023. You know what I mean?
100%. I absolutely know what you mean. I love that. I'm so excited for everybody in Dallas to come see it. So I'm assuming that it's still this high energy juggernaut of a show though, right?
Oh
How do you kind of keep from going through the motions throughout every performance? Because personally, I feel like if I'm in a show for like a single weekend, by Sunday, I'm like, all right, just going through it. Nothing really feels fresh anymore. So I can imagine a tour when you're doing this essentially every day.
yeah. Yeah, this is actually my favorite question because I don't know about you, when I go see a show, I love, and I teach some kids too. I love working with the youth. And anytime I teach kids, I tell them, if you've ever seen a show, I guarantee you walk away from that show and you're like, ah, that girl who made that cross across the stage with the basket, I saw her in the next scene, and then I saw her in the next scene. Did you see her in that dress? And you find your ensemble member and you find your person on the stage that you love to watch. Those people on the stage that you love to watch, they're making different choices every single night and they're keeping it fresh for you. And that's why you're drawn to them and you love them. And as someone who is kind of in the ensemble, in a more ensemble track in the show, every single night is different. every night is different. And if you love musical theater, you'll be in the audience, and I bet you'll be able to like pick out people on stage that have their own little bits or have their little side plots that they have going on. Everyone in the show has something different every night that keeps it a little bit spicy. I can give you one example.
Oh,
Um,
go for it.
it'll give it away because you know. But for me, Margot, when I'm in the courtroom, something that I just found recently is that like me and the bailiff have a little thing going on. So
Oh,
you know that wasn't in rehearsals, but something
it just
something about it.
happens.
In the last couple of weeks, I've been like, oh, the bailiff, me and the bailiff, and that sort of stuff you find after. I think it's been like somewhere around 80 shows that we've done so far, and you know it was just in like show number 60 or something that came up, and that keeps it really fresh and fun.
That is so I love that so much. And I've always like the ensemble is always one of my favorite parts when coming to see like a new show. I love seeing the different choices everybody makes. When I was in high school, I had an old theater director who told me or told our class basically. It was a really like inspiring thing to hear, especially at such a young age when people have this misconception that being in the ensemble is a bad thing.
Mhm.
He told me that in a one act, like we have UIL one acts in Texas, and he told us the story about this girl who the only thing she did was she was in the background. At the very start of the show, she went and she laid on a bench. And she laid there the entirety of the show. And at the end, she gets up and she walks away. She won Best Actress at that
Stop.
competition. And I like that stuck with me for, I still think about that before I do any type of role or I see a show. I will always think about that.
Yes. Oh, I did. That's a really good story. I see. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna
Go
tell.
for it. It's yours. Take it. Spread the wisdom.
Yeah, but I teach the youths. I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my pet peeve is when people say like, "Oh, I'm just in the ensemble." The ensemble makes the show. If it,
exactly. But on the flip side of things, I know that you also understudy for Elle at sometimes, right? How
yeah.
is that? How's that flip of the switch like when all of a sudden you wake up and you're Elle Woods?
Well, I actually haven't gone on yet, but um, so that's a little interesting. But we do have some understudies going on today for the very first time, so I can give you a little insight into what that's like.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and I understudy quite a bit in my career. That's what I make my career on, and it's what I love to do. That's another thing that keeps it really fresh and interesting is like your question before, that every day I'm like, you know, backstage switching on into Elle's lines just to make sure that I still have them or watching what she's doing. And every day I wake up and I'm like, is today the day? So every day I'm on the edge of my seat a little bit. But for example, today we have some understudies going on for their tracks and they've never done it before. So downstairs in a hotel conference room, we're going to have a put in and they're going to do the tracks and run through some numbers for the very first time in a hotel conference room before going to the theater in Macon, Georgia and making their debuts as principals on the national tour tonight. So it's really crazy. It's always like, you never know what's going to happen. And that's it keeps it really exciting. But for understudying Elle specifically, there's no there's no role like it. I mean, it is just such a beast of a
Hmm.
role. It's probably the biggest role that I have understudied as well. She never leaves the stage, truly never. And she has so many outfits, so many props, and our Elle Hannah Bonnet is just, I mean, there's no comparison. Um, and she's been so generous with her time and her gifts and helping me with everything. We're so lucky to have principals in the show that are just like so communicative and wanting everyone to succeed. So it's really exciting. It's always amazing.
That's really cool. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for just the ability to, like I said, flip on switch, just keeping yourself like mentally prepared to do this on any given day without really any notice. I think that is incredible and probably one of the most impressive things you can do in theater. So great job to you for staying prepared. And I know when the moment does come for you, you're going to kill it. So
Thanks. I hope so. I'm sure. Yeah, it would not be my first time going on for a lead at places, and I'm sure it will not be the last. So you know that's just the name of the game.
just to get to know you a little bit more, what kind of started your love for theater, I guess, or performing in general, whether it's theater, film, anything?
Yeah, if you ask my parents, they'll say that I came out of the womb with this personality and this like desire to perform. My mom says that when I came home from the hospital, my eyes were open and like I can't, I don't know if you can tell, I got some pretty big eyeballs, but they were like wide open, and I was trying to lift up my head, like I was trying to be like, oh, who's looking at me? But I started in dance when I was really little, because my older sister did dance and I couldn't let her have anything of her own. Uh, so I just stormed into that dance class, and then right after then, people in town put me into theater. But I was really lucky that my parents were really supportive because they are not in the arts at all. My siblings aren't in the arts, but they are incredible in their own ways. My sister is so smart, and my brother can just do anything he ever wants to put his mind to. But my parents really leaned in for me and just allowed me to blossom, and they've been supportive every step of the way. But yeah, I did my first musical when I was like 5 years old, and that was it for me. Ever since then, there was nothing else I ever wanted to do.
That's so, so cool. I cannot wait to see you in your element at the AT&T Performing Arts Center in Dallas, Texas next week for Legally Blonde. Again, I am so excited. It's my first chance to see the show professionally done legally, not a bootleg on YouTube. So I'm
Legally.
very, very excited. Exactly. You saw what I did there. Totally unintentional, but I'll take the pun. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I truly, truly, really, really appreciate it. And it was such a pleasure to meet you. And I think I got this nailed down correctly, right? Did I do
Doesn't
it?
do.
That's a new. I'm going to
And
be
then you
doing
gotta
this
go
in my
snap, snap.
the snaps. Exactly. I'm going to be doing that in my seat the entire time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.